Hey everyone, it's Vincent here, and the new Super Mario World 3D pack, collection thing, whatever it is about to hit shelves, and I'm very excited. Mario games have been with me my entire life, and platformers are one of my favorite genres in all of gaming. Now, I do wish that Nintendo was doing a little bit more with them in the sense of I kind of seeing they're just doing like altering button prompts and like updating the graphics like just slightly. So I wish they were doing a bit more, but regardless, I'm not going to let that get me down. I'm still very excited for this collection. I hope to finally beat Mario 64 and Sunshine for the first time, even though I have played both on their original consoles in the past. Mario Galaxy is also just one of my favorite games of all time, so that's got me pretty hyped as well. Rest in peace, Galaxy 2. You will be missed. Now with all of this excitement, I thought, why not go ahead and take a look at some of Mario's non-3D classic games, and the one I went ahead and decided on was Super Mario World for SNES. Now, I have beaten this one in the past on original hardware. I even managed to beat it in one day, which I was pretty proud of. Although it did make me question my life choices to beat an entire game in one day, but that's beside the point. The reason I'm even bothering to tell you this is because some of you might think my opinions going into this will be biased, but the last time I played through this was years and years ago, so this is nearly a blind playthrough for me, you know? But with all that being said, the main point of this video is going to ask the question of, is this game still worth playing in 2020? And let's just get right into it. A brief look into the development of the game shows us that it had a pretty dang solid lineup of lead people working on it. Takashi Tezuka, who worked on the Mario and Zelda series up to that point. Shigeru Miyamoto, who, come on, I feel like most people know him at this point, the literal creator of Mario among other things. And Koji Kondo, a composer who had also worked on the Mario and Zelda series up to that point. When starting out, the team actually had some minor difficulties simply because they were developing for a completely brand new system, being the SNES. Up to that point, the only thing that any of them had ever done was the NES or Famicom, so this was completely new territory for all of them. Famously, Miyamoto had been wanting to create this little dinosaur companion thing even back in the NES days for Mario, but couldn't at the time because of hardware limitations. But with the brand new shiny SNES, he was finally able to make his dream a reality for himself and created Yoshi. Koji Kondo, on the other hand, being the composer, had said that he was pretty excited to be able to create music with more than just a couple beeps and boops that the little NES could muster up. He was able to use tons of instruments at once that the NES simply wasn't able to do. It apparently took him an entire year and a half to compose all of the music for the game. This was also the first real time that he reused songs from the past, but instead of essentially porting them over with higher quality, he would actually riff and spice things up on these old reused songs. Finally, as Miyamoto has stated in an interview while reflecting on Super Mario World's development, he said that he felt like the game was actually incomplete and rushed near the end of the development period, which is actually really interesting to me because this does feel like a fully completed game, so it's just, again, interesting to hear his own feelings on the project, you know? The game certainly had quite the development cycle, but I bet you guys want to hear more what the game is like after it was completed, so let's go ahead and get into that right now. Let's go ahead and do a small summary of the story now. The story is, well, you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and let you guess what the story is. Is it A, Bowser stole Peach, B, Bowser stole Peach, C, Bowser stole Peach, or D, Bowser became the Queen of England? I'll give you 3 seconds to decide. Congratulations! If you chose anything other than D, you win! And if you chose D, what were you thinking? Yeah, come on, it's a Mario game. What else did you expect the story to be? Even the newer games barely have any new spins on the story. What this game did introduce, however, that's relevant to the story is these brand new characters, the Koopalings. Them being Iggy, Larry, Lemmy, Ludwig von Koopa, Morton Jr., Roy, and Wendy. all 7 of these characters have since become mainstays as part of the Mario series cast. And as I mentioned before, this was the first time Yoshi ever appeared in a Mario game, and they have now become a part of the main cast as well. You gotta fight through all the Koopalings and save the Yoshi eggs, then beat Bowser to save the princess, you know, the classic stuff. The gameplay is where the real meat of any Mario game lays, so let's get into that, shall we? This is a 2D side-scroller at its finest. You run around and jump through all the stages until you hit the, not flag in this one, but this giant ribbon tape thing to complete a level. Almost every level has a particular gimmick going for it, whether it's something simple like a color scheme or a certain way of moving about the stage. For example, in this castle level, your main way of traveling for a good portion of it is by carefully following this little block. Or you have to have good timing with this giant moving section of the level. There are 72 levels in this game, but have a total of 96 exits for you to cross. Getting every single one of them will grant you 100% completion. You might be wondering how there are 96 exits despite there only being 72 levels, and that's because of a little something called secrets. There are secret paths in certain levels that allow you to enter into these mystery worlds. The way you can tell which levels have secret exits is on the world map. As you can see, every level either flashes red or yellow. The red flashes indicates that the level has more than one exit, while the yellow is just the basic get to the end of the stage. You almost always have to grab a key and then put it into a keyhole to access the secret. These secret areas can also lead to something called Star Road. These are slightly harder than normal levels, and if you beat all these levels, you can access the final hidden area. Now these levels will test your skills and will have you almost certainly raging at least a little bit. I know I did. But much like the rest of the game, these aren't unfair challenges. It feels like the developers are pushing you and really testing your skill, but it just never feels unfair, which I love. There is a time limit to every stage, but really it's not an issue. I'm pretty sure I only ever heard it once during the entire game. And if you run out of time, as you can guess, you die. I really enjoy what happens after you beat castle bosses. There's these little cutscenes that play out and you get to see all the fun, weird, and wacky ways Mario destroys each castle. This is legit one of my favorite aspects about the game. Yoshi controls great for his first outing. Basically, you have to hatch him out of an egg. These eggs are found around in random item boxes throughout the different levels. He can eat most enemies and do a variety of things with them after he eats them. He can spit them out or swallow them, occasionally creating an egg with a goodie inside, like maybe a mushroom. Now, the Koopas in particular have varying effects when you spit them back out. For example, the green Koopas can be used as fast and direct projectiles. The red can be used to spit out fireballs. These come out in a spray of 3, but move a bit slow. Finally, special purple shells can allow you to fly by mashing the button for a limited time. Now this is really the best ability in the game because the flying can help break some levels because you can just fly over literally everything. You can also get an extra hit with them and they don't instantly disappear. You can chase them down and hop back onto their back again. You can do this endlessly unless the Yoshi runs off a pit or into lava or something like that. The power-ups in this game are pretty great. You got your typical Mario fodder, you know, the mushrooms that make you big, the classic 1-up shrooms that give you an extra life, and of course the star. This makes you invincible to literally everything but falling down pits and being crushed to death. If you kill enough enemies while you're invincible, you'll get level ups, so just gun it whenever you get the star and kill as many enemies as you can. For the new power-ups, you get these little balloons that puff you up and you begin to float around. It's not the greatest power-up, but it certainly isn't that bad either. The big one that was introduced in this game was the cape power-up, and oh, this is so much fun! The cape can act as both an attack item and movement item. By that I mean you can do spins on the ground or in the air to hit enemies. With movement, all you gotta do is run straight in one direction for a bit and jump. After you do that, you go flying high into the air and maneuver yourself around to keep yourself afloat. Now, I actually remember this as a kid, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to do this, and now I feel pretty dumb because it's actually very easy to do. Just push back on the D-pad occasionally and bam, you got your flight. This, in my opinion, is one of the best items that has been ever introduced into the Mario series. Also, as a quick side note, you can hold up to one item in this little box at the top. You can use this at any point by hitting select, and if you get hit, then the item will automatically start falling down towards you. Also in this game, you do get this little spin jump too, that if you're Big Mario, you can break certain blocks with it and hop along certain spiked areas. This can make some areas a little easier if you're careful enough. There is a multiplayer aspect to this game as well, but it works just the same as the past Mario games before this, but with one small twist. Basically, one player plays until that person dies, then the next person takes over wherever they left off until their own death, etc, etc. But the key difference is that the second player will actually play as Luigi. So nothing too deep, but it's a welcome addition of course nonetheless. This is a great game for families to play together, especially if you have smaller children. The music, I will actually admit, I can't really think of much to say about it other than, well, it's very good. You got some of the classic tunes here by Koji Kondo, and I really enjoy the final credits theme in particular. Super upbeat and makes you feel really good after beating this game. Heck, you still hear a lot of the songs and melodies from this game in modern Mario games to this day. I highly recommend that you take a listen to the music for yourself sometime. You won't regret it. The game's difficulty is actually very balanced as well. It starts off very easy, to the point that even a 4-year-old could beat the first few levels without a single death. And we're just going to ignore the fact that I died on the very first enemy. But as the game goes, it steadily ramps up the difficulty to the point that I was dying, not a ton, but I did have to go farm for lives twice in my playthrough. But the deaths never felt unfair to me. I never felt cheated because of any broken, precise platforming, leaps of faith, or poor enemy placement. At a time where all of these things were rampant in games, this was very welcomed. Now for the much dreaded complaints, which, oh god, gee, this is hard. I really am struggling to think of complaints for this game. It's just that good to me. Oh gosh, the only one I can really think of off the top of my head is that I wish that there was a slightly faster way to travel all around the map. Like if I want to go back to a previous level far back, I just gotta keep pressing back over and over and over again, and it is a little bit tedious. I kinda wish that you maybe had something like, I don't know, you press the select button and it would bring up a mini map and you could select which area you wanted to go to and it automatically transported you there. But like, that's really all I can think of to complain about this. One real quick thing about the map is that sometimes when you beat a level, the overworld map will actually change in appearance, and I really like that. It makes things feel dynamic and alive, and I don't know, it's fun, you know? Now with all that being said, let's go ahead and answer the question that I asked at the beginning of this video, being, is this game worth playing in 2020? And guys, did you really think I was going to say anything other than yes? It's Super Mario World. Of course it's fantastic. It's got great level design, decent challenge, great music. Everything about it is great. It's currently on the Nintendo Switch Online if you have that, and if you do, go play it right now. If I had to give this game a rating, it's a 9.5 out of 10. I struggle to find really anything that I didn't just love about it, you know? Alright, that's it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. Comment down below how I can improve and what you thought of the video as a whole. And finally, I think it's a good idea if you subscribe to Just Gaming Central. Alright, that's it for me. Bye!